Piper is a proposal planner and Adam is a divorce lawyer. The two are poles apart and neither believe in Valentine's Day, at least not when it comes to their own love lives. But this Valentine's Day might bring a few surprises, and maybe even love. Piper Davis is a committed proposal planner whose job is to plan and execute proposal setups for her clients. And with Valentine's Day just around the corner, she's quite overloaded with requests. She's very enthusiastic about working with her clients, but it seems that she's doing it to fill some kind of void in her own love life. The story depicts how she deals with her clients on top of her own mixed emotions. As for Adam, he's been a divorce lawyer long enough to know that love at first sight is problematic, and that real relationships demand both time and conscious communication. The film starts with Piper encouraging her client, George, to be confident about his proposal. George is obviously nervous about proposing, but Piper reassures him that his girlfriend, Lisa, won't be able to say no because anyone can tell that they're both genuinely in love with each other. Valentine's Day is just around the corner and Piper's been receiving non-stop calls from clients, requesting her to help plan their proposals. It seems like everyone wants to propose on Valentine's Day because it's the perfect moment. She complains about the workload this time of the year. Her 7th client dials in to book her services. Piper, being Piper, just can't say no. The client introduces himself as Jordan and apologizes for the last-minute booking, but still insists that Piper help him out with proposing to his boyfriend, Simon. Even though she's already overloaded with work, Piper agrees to help and asks him for his details. Bree, Piper's best friend, also wants her help with picking out a Valentine's Day card for her boyfriend, Ethan. She's confused because she wants to tell him how she feels, but she also doesn't want to scare him off with too many feelings too soon. But the cards on display are way too cheesy for their liking. They find a card with "Be My Bestie, Valentine," and Piper comments that it's something you'd get for a friend rather than a date. And Adam, who also happens to be looking for a card, interrupts to tell her that the most successful relationships stem from friendships. Piper interjects that love at first sight is one of the strongest feelings, but Adam shuts her down by telling her that it's merely infatuation, and thus can't be compared with love. He reiterates that it's just adrenaline and hormones because real relationships take time. Piper, though, isn't too happy with the outcome of the conversation and urges Bree to pick a blank card just so they can leave, which she does. On their way out, Bree comments that the guy back at the shop was cute, but Piper reminds her that he was picking up a Valentine's Day card, so he's obviously taken. However, Bree is adamant and reasons that he wasn't wearing a ring, which means he might still be on the market. Bree also tells Piper to lose up a bit and open her heart to love because she deserves it just as much as anyone else. And Piper promises to give love another try once Valentine's Day is over because she has too much work to get done. As for Adam, he heads to meet his friend Jordan in a cafe. Jordan is his brother's boyfriend and announces that he plans to propose on Valentine's Day. However, his reaction isn't exactly positive. He's skeptical about the proposal because he thinks that the two of them aren't in a mature enough stage in their relationship to be taking it to the next level. Nevertheless, Jordan confidently reassures him that they both love each other, so it doesn't really make sense to wait any longer. He also tells him about his appointment with the proposal planner and convinces him to come with him since he knows Simon the best. Adam is somewhat alarmed to know that planning proposals is actually a career, but agrees anyway. On the other hand, Bree catches Piper sulking over old pictures with her ex-boyfriend Greg, who dumped her last Valentine's Day. He's the reason that she doesn't want to make any plans for Valentine's Day because she feels that she'll only be disappointed. However, Bree tells her that it's been a whole year and that she shouldn't ruin the rest of her Valentines because of a jerk like Greg. So, Piper throws out the picture just to prove that she's over Greg. And as Bree leaves, it turns out that Piper had another copy of the picture that she then proceeds to continue sulking over. Later, Bree and Piper are thinking of what to write on Ethan's Valentine's card. Bree is clearly overthinking the whole situation because it's her first Valentine's with Ethan. She's worried that he might get her a gift, and she wouldn't have one to reciprocate. But then she also doesn't want to be the only one getting a gift, in case he hasn't thought that far. But Piper tells her not to give in to the pressure of Valentine's Day because love goes beyond mere gestures. That's when they're interrupted by Cynthia, one of Piper's clients who plans on proposing to her boyfriend. Cynthia is devastated because her mother thinks it's not proper for a woman to propose to a man, and that she'll only end up humiliating herself. But Piper reassures her that her mother is from a different generation, and that things are different now. And this kind of puts her at ease. On the other hand, Jordan is telling Adam how he plans to propose, but it quickly turns into a conversation about Adam's dating life. Jordan encourages him to open up to someone and go on proper dates, and Adam admits that he can see problems early on due to his profession. It's hard for him to open up because the first date is more than enough for him to see all the ways that things could potentially go wrong in the future. In fact, he advises Jordan not to go for a showy proposal as it would raise the bar too high, and he won't be able to sustain Simon's expectations later on. Jordan, though, is not convinced. Adam and Jordan head over to the appointment with Piper and they instantly recognize each other from the card store. Regardless, Adam politely introduces himself and they get down to business. Jordan jokes about how he wants an elaborate serenade in a fancy restaurant, but Piper informs him that she'll need to meet Simon before she can come up with a good proposal idea. And they decide that Piper will be an undercover date for Adam when the three of them meet for dinner. When Bree finds out about the fake date, she can't stop teasing Piper about it, although she insists that it's only part of her work. She also wants ideas about what she can get Ethan for Valentine's Day that wouldn't seem too cheap or too extravagant. And Adam proceeds to tell her that the simple thing to do would be to ask if Ethan plans on getting her a gift, but stops, seeing their horrified faces. Piper, though, informs him that you can't just ask because it would ruin the whole element of surprise. But Adam just emphasizes that a lack of communication will only lead to a breakup. And as soon as Adam and Jordan leave, Bree can't stop gushing about how Adam was looking at Piper, but she brushes it off, saying that they're complete opposites. Jordan also tries to coax Adam about Piper, but he also brushes it off with the same excuse. At her spin class, Piper bumps into Greg, who tries to make it look like a coincidence, but it's clear that he's not over Piper, and that the chance encounter is no chance. He even tries to not so subtly tell Piper that he's still single, but she shuts him down politely, and tells him that she doesn't want to revisit their relationship right now. Greg promises that he's changed but proceeds to focus on the class as he hops on, next to Piper. Later, Piper fills Bree in on her encounter with Greg, and upon her asking, confesses that she's not really sure if all her feelings for him are gone for good. Adam arrives and is surprised to find that Bree and Piper both work and reside together. He then smugly announces that it only proves his point that strong relationships take time. And on their way to the restaurant, he fills Piper in about Simon. But somehow, the conversation shifts from Simon, and Piper starts telling Adam all about how she moved from Indiana and started her business. Adam also confesses that he's not too sure about Jordan proposing to Simon because he feels that Jordan is fantasizing way too much, and he would hate to see either of them get hurt. But Piper still thinks that they're the perfect match. Before the two finally head to the restaurant, Adam stops to buy a red rose for Piper, despite her insistence. But he's adamant that it'll help their disguise. Piper is a bit taken aback and tells Simon that he's being quite romantic for a realist, but he reassures her that the two don't have to be mutually exclusive. And upon their arrival, Simon comments that Piper must be very special if Adam is actually introducing them. As time passes, Piper and Adam actually seem to be having a great time. Simon asks them about how they met, and they both say different things simultaneously. However, they eventually settle with an online spin class where Piper is an instructor. More importantly, Piper discovers that Simon absolutely loves board games and is actually a regular at a board game cafe. Somehow, the topic of kids comes up and it turns out that Simon wants 3 kids while Jordan doesn't really want kids at all. This sends a wave of awkwardness in the air, and Adam tries to change the topic by asking Simon to sign the Valentine's Day card that he got for their mom. After the meal, Adam and Piper decide to discuss everything that went down. Piper jokes that Simon must have been the fun one growing up. But Adam once again points out how he's concerned about Jordan rushing with the proposal. But Piper tells him that love conquers all. Adam asks if she actually believes that, to which she admits that she wants to but it's hard, and trails off without completing the sentence. Adam also confesses that he's too much of a realist for relationships. They both admit that Valentine's Day puts a lot of pressure, which can actually make you feel very lonely if you're single. But they agree that neither of them has the time for a proper relationship. The next day, Piper fills Bree in on everything and she urges her to give Adam a chance because he's obviously nothing like Greg. Piper agrees that Adam is a nice guy, but she's still concerned that the two of them are literally poles apart. And as they say, speak of the devil, and just like that they bump into Adam. He exclaims that he's never seen her here before and she admits that she usually goes to spin class, but can't because of Greg, hinting that there are too many people for her liking. Just then, they're interrupted by Piper's phone as yet another one of her clients is seeking reassurances. Meanwhile, Adam probes Bree on why Piper isn't too excited about Valentine's Day, but she's not willing to tell on her best friend. On his way back, Greg bumps into Adam, who tells him about meeting Piper. Simon is amazed to find out that Piper has the time for both spin class and running. He also expresses how he would love to join one of her sessions, but Adam convinces him that Piper can't take any more students. Nevertheless, Simon informs his brother that his brother has finally found someone. But when he finds that Adam hasn't made Valentine's Day plans, he decides to give up the reservation he made for Jordan and himself to Adam and Piper. Adam tries to talk him out of it, but he's adamant. Simon tells him that he and Jordan are already like an old married couple, so they can just have dinner at home. He also tells him that they talked through the topic of kids and managed to reach a consensus as well. This somewhat relieves Adam, who's glad that things are working out for them. And for the first time, he's starting to think that maybe the proposal isn't such a bad idea after all. Later, Adam and Jordan meet Piper to discuss the details of the proposal. Piper proposes that Jordan pops the question through Scrabble by spelling out "marry me." However, Jordan isn't too excited about that prospect. Instead, he thinks that he should propose on the golf course because golf is something that helps the two of them bond. Adam, on the other hand, likes Piper's idea better, but Jordan is dead serious about the golf proposal. So, Piper proceeds to make arrangements. Piper and Adam decide to get coffee but bump into Greg. Greg can't stop praising Piper for her planning skills, but she tries to brush it off and get rid of him. Adam informs her that it seems like her ex really wants her back, but she reassures him that that's never going to happen. However, they're once again interrupted by yet another client meltdown. Both Adam and Piper head over to Cynthia, but this time, they both convince her together about how she should go ahead with the proposal. And turns out, they're not that different after all. Adam shares that he went into family law because he wanted to help make things easier for people. And as the subject comes up, Piper shares how she was pretty serious about Greg, but that sometimes things definitely don't work out no matter how hard you try. Adam also faced a similar heartbreak, but unlike him, Piper still feels that she can still give love a second chance if the right person comes along. When Adam and Piper head back to Piper's workplace, they unexpectedly find Simon there. He's picking out dresses for a colleague's wedding. He's also surprised to see the two of them there, but even more so, when Adam tells him that Piper works selling bridal gowns. Simon can't believe that Piper has the time to tackle so many jobs at once, and probes the subject of joining spin classes again. However, Adam tries to make up some excuse to get out of it again. Simon exclaims that he knows exactly what's going on. And for a moment, Piper and Adam exchange looks, but they're relieved when Simon elaborates that Adam is acting that way, only because he's too possessive of Piper. The two chuckle and go along with it. Just then, Piper's phone rings and she gets a call from the golf club. Luckily, though, she manages to cover up. But as the topic is brought up, Simon admits that he absolutely hates golf and only goes along with it for Jordan's sake. With this newfound information, Piper immediately dials up Jordan. And when he arrives, she and Adam fill her in on everything that happened and try to convince him to go with Piper's proposal idea instead. But Jordan is adamant, so Piper reluctantly informs him that she'll have to step back because she can't be involved with a proposal that might fail badly. Jordan tells her that he understands and that he'll execute it himself if he needs to. Piper apologizes to Adam as well, but he reassures her that he understands where she's coming from, and that he's concerned that Jordan or Simon might end up hurt with the way things are going. And to top it all off, Bree reveals that Ethan had to cancel their Valentine's Day reservations to swap shifts with a coworker whose husband is moving overseas for a good 3 months. But Bree tries to be optimistic and points out that she won't have to get him a gift, at least. Piper points out that they could still exchange gifts and advises her to go simple with something like a gift card. Piper sighs, wishing all problems were this easy to solve, but Bree reassures her that she did everything she could for Jordan and Simon. But Piper claims that she felt a connection to them, and Bree smirks that it was only because of Adam. At this, Piper admits that spending time with Adam was great, but she doesn't think he'll want anything to do with her anymore after she rejected Jordan. However, it turns out that Piper was wrong about that, and when she bumps into Adam again, he offers to take her out for bagels. But as always, before they can't fully cherish the moment, they're interrupted by another one of Piper's clients who lost his ring while rehearsing for the proposal. Piper comforts him and points out how the whole thing would make a great story to tell his kids later on. But Adam comes to the rescue and finds the ring in no time. And the two finally continue on to their bagel date. While Valentine's Day is the busiest time of year for Piper, it's the exact opposite for Adam since no one really wants to break up on Valentine's Day. But Piper shares how she got dumped on Valentine's Day because he couldn't let her be herself. Adam shows support and eventually even agrees to help Piper execute all the proposals. Valentine's Day finally arrives and Piper is chirpier than usual, and that doesn't go unnoticed by Bree. However, she understands when Adam walks in. But Ethan soon walks in as well. He has a card for Bree, which Bree reciprocates with her own card. Plus, he got her a gift card as well. What's more, it seems the two also got gifts for each other. So, they were meant to be after all. As for Piper and Adam, they're busy running around preparing proposal setups for the couples. Adam is a bit nervous, at which Piper chuckles and remarks that this is exactly why she's so invested in her clients. Cynthia proposes to Brad, and he's surprised, to say the least, but agrees almost instantly. The proposal is a huge success, as are the ones following it. The two of them really seem to be having a great time together, and when they're finally down to just one last proposal, Adam receives a call from Jordan. Jordan is all panicked and ranting about how he had a fallout with Simon and broke up. So, Adam and Piper head over to meet Simon and try to make amends. Simon explains how Jordan kept insisting on going golfing when he just wanted to spend some quality time with him, but things got out of hand pretty quickly. He admits that he overreacted but confesses that he sometimes feels like Jordan doesn't make an effort to do the things that he likes. And of course, he confesses that he genuinely loves Jordan. As for Jordan, he's pretty upset, but Adam and Piper convince him to go with the board game proposal. And this time, he finally agrees. Adam and Jordan head to the game store, while Piper starts preparing for George and Lisa's proposal. However, she's stopped by Greg. She tells him to leave and that they don't stand a chance anymore. But he apologizes for the way he treated her and agrees to leave her alone. It seems like a genuine apology, so Piper gives in and hugs him one last time. On the other hand, Jordan and Adam seem to have missed something and come back to catch up with Piper. They find her outside her workplace just as she lands a soft kiss on Greg's cheek. Adam feels betrayed, but Jordan persuades him to just head to the game store for the time being. He tries to make him feel better as well, but Adam tells him not to ruin a special moment over nothing. Piper arrives as well, but she notices a sense of hostility in Adam's attitude. She tries to confront him about it and he explains how he saw her with Greg. He tells her that he's really happy for her. She tries to tell him that it's not what he thinks, but he's not really willing to listen. He tells her that she doesn't need to give him any justifications and that he understands if she changed her mind. He further goes on to say that he can't, and in fact, doesn't want to compete with Greg. Piper tries to explain again, but Adam just tells her that he's seen these patterns with clients as well. This infuriates Piper, who coldly informs him that she's not one of his clients. And then she leaves, wishing Jordan luck and telling him that she won't be back since she's not needed anymore. Like all the other proposals, George and Lisa's is a success as well. But as they leave, Piper admits to herself that she feels lonely for the first time in a while. She envies the couples who have found their soulmates because it seems that things never work out for her. On the other hand, Jordan and Adam are chatting while waiting for Simon to arrive. But Jordan finally tells Adam that just because he's been hurt in the past doesn't mean it will happen again. And so, he convinces him to go after her. As Piper's winding up the preparations, she hears footsteps and calls out to George, but looks up to see Adam instead. He apologizes to her before confessing how he's never felt this way about someone else. And this lights a smile on Piper's face as well. But before they can fully take in the moment, they're interrupted by Jordan, who's getting more and more nervous with time. So, they get there and help Jordan calm down. Simon arrives shortly as well and is surprised to find everyone gathered there. Jordan tells him to play the game, to find out. Jordan starts reading out clues, which are basically questions about Simon, and Simon answers them by putting tiles on the board. With 3 letters done, the board spells MRY. And as realization hits, Simon gasps. Jordan takes it as his cue and professes his undying love for Simon. Of course, Simon says yes and they share an embrace. The rest also come out to congratulate them. They also come clean about Piper being a proposal planner and explain how they started fake dating but somehow ended up dating for real. They end the night with wine and a toast to love, before Adam and Piper head over to the dinner reservations that Simon made for them. This time, Adam surprises Piper with a pizza that spells "Be Mine, Valentine," with red peppers. Adam jokes that he hopes she likes peppers and Piper gushes. She thanks him for the pizza and for giving her back the joy of Valentine's Day. The two stare at each other for a good moment before leaning in for an embrace. And for the time being, the world is a perfect place and nothing else matters.